Hello to everyone, and welcome to our mechanical engineering virtual meetup with a special topic for April, sustainability in design and manufacturing. My name is Anton Fedosiev. I'm the content strategist with Customer Success Organization, and I have two guests today, Sullivan and Dellel from Autodesk Sustainability team. So before we get started, before we jump into the presentation and conversation with our brilliant guests, I wanted to remind you about the webinar basics. So how it works. All the lines are muted at the moment because we are recording this session. The recording of this webinar will be delivered to your inboxes in a couple of days from now. If you have a question, you are more than welcome to ask it at any point of time. This is the purpose of this meetup, is to have live conversation. Quick reminder about the format. If this is your first experience with virtual meetups, the way it works is that it's just a conversational format. We have topic of the month. We have great speakers from inside Autodesk, outside of Autodesk, and we talk just about different solutions available to you, how they are interconnected, different workflows. And also, we just want to build a community of mechanical engineers practicing Autodesk tools. So, and the format is that we have this webinar every second Thursday of each month. So you can register, it's very repeatable format. We also have generative design. It's the fourth Thursday of each month. So same format, Q&A presentations, just a different Thursday. And if you have colleagues or you are interested in other industries, we have virtual meetups for all the roles listed on the screen. So it's pretty big program. This is the last slide on my side, but before we jump into conversation with our guest speakers today, I wanted to ask you something about you. So, and the question number one is, what is the closest description of your role? Just pick one of the option, and the reason why is we would like to understand what kind of spin we need to give to this conversation. All right, I'll keep it open for several more seconds. Just click on the screen, one option that describes the closest. I know those are very generic and may seem strange. All right, so thank you so much for your votes. Let me close the poll and share the results with all of you. And this is what we see. Most of the folks on the call are from design and engineering department with a little bit of Autodesk partners and others. Yeah, so thank you. And another one is to understand the level of instruction, right? How much of interest and knowledge you already have in sustainability. This is multiple choice, like, this is single choice, but just pick the option that describes you the closest. Okay, thank you so much. And this is really what kind of I expected to see. So it's a lot of folks exploring the topic, but from the other side, we have people who are sustainability is a part of their role, and you are seeking for more ideas in terms of like what's available from Autodesk. This is great. This is a great transition to what we have. Right, because we have two Autodesk experts from sustainability team, and I wanted to introduce you to Sullivan and Dellel. And the first question, like, how did you guys personally become interested in sustainability? Just let's start from you. What's your story?
All right, quick sound check. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So my background is in mechanical engineering, and when I was in undergrad, I started a vintage motorcycle company. I was doing restoration work and bringing this old transportation back to life to help college students who couldn't afford new transportation. And then I ended up going into the 3D printing space and spent 8 years at Stratasys and most recently leading the application engineering team. And I wanted to get back to more impactful work. And I came across Autodesk Technology Center in San Francisco and was fascinated by the space. And as an employee, they're able to work on it, use any of the equipment from CNC machines to 3D printers. And I came across the sustainability team and really found out all the impactful work that Autodesk is doing across the design and manufacturing space, architecture, engineering, construction. And it's truly a company that's really investing in this space in the core. And I wanted to be a part of it. And so now I've been here for about 2 years now on the sustainability team and working with our customers to help them meet their sustainability goals and commitments using different Autodesk products.
So you are currently based in Germany, right?
Yeah, so my home is in San Francisco, and I'm on a 6-month research assignment in Germany to truly learn how the leaders in sustainability are applying sustainability throughout their factories. And what we found from our research is that Europe as a whole has the highest concentration of companies that are committed to sustainability. And so I'm here now researching with our customers how they're truly embedding sustainability throughout their organizations.
Excellent, thank you, Chas. So interesting. Let's make our quick geographic check. So question to audience: if you could pull up your questions panel and type the location you're connected from, we'll quickly check the geography of our webinar today. Please take a moment to do that. And while you're typing, Chad, what's your story with sustainability?
Hey Anton, thank you for having us. I've been with Autodesk more than 10 years now, and my background is civil engineering and structural engineering. So in my previous jobs, I've been always trying to reduce waste, and been always interested by sustainability and having an impact. So I moved from a customer success role in the past to this new role because it's really interested from the impact perspective. So my new role is about scaling sustainability in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and supporting our internal employees and the partners, especially the customer-facing role, to have sustainability conversation with their customers and to support them in their achieving their sustainability goals. So I'm really excited to be here, and I will be supporting Chas here, moderating, and also following the questions you will be posting on the chat.
All right, excellent. With that, thank you guys for the introductions. Let's jump into the presentation. Let's quickly switch the presenters. It will take us a moment. Let's bear with us. Okay, we can see the slides, Chad.
Great. So this is Chas Sullivan again, and so we're going to really cover 3 different areas. First, just a very high level of what is sustainability, how is it applied in the manufacturing space, what are we seeing from different customers, and then we're going to dive into another section of how are we seeing software applied to help meet sustainability goals and commitments. And then towards the end, I'm just going to share a little bit about the research project that I'm working on right now. Jad, ready for the next slide. Autodesk has consistently held this vision for over 14 years. We see a better world as one that is sustainable, prosperous, resilient, equitable for billions of people living on this planet. Next, please. To place things in context, there will be 10 billion people living on the planet by 2050. That's over 40% of our current population in less than 35 years. 75% will be in urban areas, and 95% of humanity will live within a day's travel of a city, many of which haven't been built yet or are not meeting the needs of today's populations. Personally, living in San Francisco, this issue is already all too real. 5 billion, or half of us, will be in the global middle class, purchasing more cars, washing machines, refrigerators, many of the creature comforts that we're used to today. And that's a 100% increase from today. Providing goods to this increasing population will require double the amount of material currently being produced and double the amount of energy, requiring us to find new, better ways of making products and new, cleaner sources of renewable energy. At Autodesk, we also feel the challenges of the future. We realize that such an increase in population, coupled with increasing needs, will result on us all having to produce more products better with less environmental impact. We know our tools must support this, helping our customers produce more, using less, and make it better. Doing more with less is what we call productivity. Manufacturers can improve their bottom lines by leveraging technology to increase energy productivity and materials productivity to meet the needs of many while using less resources. To answer the demand of this growing population, manufacturing is key to producing more. It represents a massive economic opportunity, 16% of GDP, or global domestic product, and 14% of employment globally. However, it also has a big environmental impact. Manufacturing operations are energy intensive. Globally, they account for 19% of greenhouse gas emissions and 37% of energy consumption. We recently engaged with an external consultant agency to analyze our customers' goals and commitments. We found that 52% of design and manufacturing customers and 50% of architecture, engineering, and construction customers are publicly committed to driving sustainable outcomes. And a whopping 91% of our largest design and manufacturing and 80% of our architecture, engineering, and construction customers have made public commitments. We'll look at those at the specifics in upcoming slides. Next, please. Next slide, please. One before that. Can you go back one, please? So why are these commitments becoming more evident? It's because increasingly companies understand that sustainability is good for business. Companies have always and will always care about reducing waste, which translates into cost and lost profitability. Sustainability is also concerned with reducing waste, wasted raw materials and energy. Companies have to comply with regulations and standards. These regulations are increasing as governments try to address negative societal impacts. More customers are demanding products made in sustainable ways with sustainable materials. Customers care about building a sustainable brand that helps them reach new markets. Lastly, we have been increasingly aware of our potential to negatively impact the planet for at least 5 decades. That has definitely influenced company leaders who have grown up hearing about sustainability. Let's break down some trends. Next, please. The Autodesk sustainability team has found the majority of current and future design and manufacturing demands fit within these 3 key trends: material productivity and circularity, encompassed by the 3 R's: reduce, think of lightweighting your products; reuse, designed to be disassembled, and the circular economy; recycle, prevents waste from being sent to landfill. For energy productivity and smart manufacturing, consider deploying IoT and smart technologies, which will enable manufacturers to understand and improve performance, predict and schedule maintenance, reduce breakdowns, and reduce overall machine time. Responsible supply chain management, with 80% of global trade flowing through multinational corporations, 1 in 5 jobs is tied to global supply chains, and over 80% of greenhouse gas emissions is in most consumer good industries stemming from their supply chains. Supply chains play an outsized role in many of the most pressing social and environmental challenges. Today, we'll focus on the first two. Next. We find that sustainability practices intersect with other popular frameworks used in the manufacturing environment. Lean manufacturing, a systematic method for waste minimalization without sacrificing productivity. Personally, my favorite tool from the manufacturing space was value stream mapping, or looking at every piece and seeing what actually adds value. Smart manufacturing, which is a term that's used very broadly, but it's a broad category of manufacturing with the goal of optimizing concept generation, production, and product transaction. Now looking at sustainable manufacturing. Similarly, these uses techniques called life cycle assessment, which is a scientific process used to assess the environmental impacts of products and materials across their entire life cycle. All of these are quite similar in goals and practice, and when coupled, they can minimize negative environmental impacts of their products significantly. Next slide. The circular economy is a growing trend, originating in Europe and growing popularity globally. The European Commission has adopted a new circular economy action plan, one of the main blocks of the European Green Deal, Europe's new agenda for sustainable growth. So think about how biology works. It's been around for billions of years. There's no such thing as a landfill. One waste is another's food. Grow, die, and the nutrients return. It works. It's a proven process. Our traditional linear take, make, and waste, we continuously are eating into natural resources. When you buy a new phone, you throw out the old one. If you have a broken washing machine, if you're a mechanical engineer, which you probably are, you'll try to fix it, and then maybe you end up disposing of it. I know I've gone through that. So there's a shift towards a circular economy to disposability, incorporating the 3 R's in the circular economy. So looking at how to design items to be disassembled, products designed to come back to the manufacturers, we need to rethink our operating system. Using creativity and innovation, we can rethink and redesign the future. In September of 2015, the General Assembly adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. That includes 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, building on the principle of leaving no one behind. The new agenda emphasizes a holistic approach to achieving sustainable development for all. They address the global challenges we face, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate, environmental degradation, prosperity, and peace and justice. One of the projects that we have going on here at Autodesk is looking at creating a coalition of our customers around the UN Sustainable Development Goals and figuring out how we can all work upstream and downstream with suppliers and customers to figure out how to bring everyone together, because closing this loop is quite difficult. Next. So let's take a look at some recognizable brands. Has anyone here tested the strength of their relationships with loved ones, building IKEA furniture together? If you're a mechanical engineer like me, you probably enjoy building it. Actually follow the directions and find continuous improvement opportunities along the way. If all else fails, pulling out a big hammer for rework. But back to the UNSDGs, we're also very impressed by the work that IKEA is doing towards their sustainable development goals. This is just a page from their sustainability report, which is 59 pages long, and they have an entire section devoted to the UNSDGs. Next. So here's a snapshot from Autodesk Sustainability Report from 2019. And you can see that there are 6 UN SDGs that we're aligned with. The 6 major goals our solutions can support are number 7, affordable and clean energy, 8, decent work and economic growth, 9, industry innovation and infrastructure, 11, sustainable cities and communities, 12, responsible consumption and production, 13, climate action and climate action. And so at various meetups that we have or events like Autodesk University, we've been hosting these industry cooperations to look at how can we partner upstream and downstream with different customers to figure out how to meet each of these, because they're massive goals to take on, and it really takes interconnecting everyone together. So I mean, just think about an automotive customer, for instance, that, let's say, designing a car, you first need you need oil, then it goes into a polymer, then the polymer maybe goes to an electronics supplier, then that goes to a tier 1 supplier, that goes to the car, then it goes to a customer. I mean, it's a really complex system, and so we're really looking at how can we all come together to meet these. Next slide. So another thing is that as we're working with our customers and looking at their sustainability reports, a lot of the current goals and commitments have Autodesk solutions that you already have available to you. And so, for instance, here's one of the pages from Ford's sustainability report, and you can see that there's some connections and different solutions and workflows. And we're even now working with some of Ford's suppliers. One of them is a group called the Wellman Group, who is focused on circularity, and they're actually taking old carpets that are made of nylon, and they are upcycling them and creating raw materials for Ford to use on under the hood components. And so that's an example of how we can all come together, and they're both customers of Autodesk using Moldflow. Next. So let's pause here for a second and answer some Q&A. Judd, do you want to share the questions?
I don't have any question really from the audience here, but guys, feel free now to ask any question regarding the first section. You can use the chat window, or we can unmute you if you need to speak up here. Anton, do you see any questions on your hand? Yeah, so there is someone.
We answered one of the questions live. It was not related to sustainability, so I addressed it through the chat window. We don't have any questions now, but to the audience, this is live webinar, so just type your questions as we go, so we'll be able to address them either through chat or live. So don't forget to use the Q&A window.
Great. So let's move into some of the different solutions and what we're seeing some of our customers doing. So first, well, you can pause here. So there's a series of different workflows and the 3 key trends. Today we'll be focusing on material productivity and energy productivity, and we'll just be highlighting a few today. We're not going into in-depth how to run each of our solutions. There's plenty of content for that, and the other webinars can cover that. But I'm just going to share a couple examples today. And so this first one is an example of a Honda crankshaft that used generative design and NetFab to reduce mass while maintaining support and strength. So they set a goal of about 30% weight reduction, but ended up achieving 50%. So consider how overdeveloped this part already was this was surprising and great news. So reducing weight helps vehicle efficiency. And crankshaft is a major functional part and needs rigidity and strength to withstand combustion pressures of the engine. Next, we'll go into a little bit on the workflow details. So you go from generative design in Fusion to NetFab. And in generative design, you can generate options in the cloud based on your goals and constraints. For sustainability use case, the user might have goals related to mass, material, manufacturing method. And you import your design, open your generative design workspace, set the design space, set your goal, whether maybe a mass target goal or minimize your mass, set your constraints such as your forces, manufacturing methods, or costs, runs on the cloud, you get to explore your options and then download it. And then you go over to NetFab to optimize for the print quality, the process and operation, and the benefits there could include waste reduction, increased part strength, reduced print time, and reduce the energy to produce. So in coming from the additive manufacturing space, especially with metal printing, it could be a very complicated process, and failures are very, very costly. So this can help you to change your latticing or repacking, or look at your support optimization, advanced path utility to really make sure that you're going to prevent any failures. Next, we'll look at mold flow. You can reduce material and energy use with mold flow. The time to market and delivery to your customers is critical, and making a mold and then finding out it doesn't work takes time. Part defects discovered in manufacturing cost time and money. And there's oftentimes wasted material from overfilling, so you can save your scrap, eliminate wasted materials, and it really helps with pressures from your customer to reduce costs, meet efficiency standards, both through lightweighting and mold design. Now let's look at the actual workflow. So when mold flow design is opened with a part that has a plastic material assigned, a small widget appears in the workspace that highlights the result of design considerations on the production of a plastic injection molded part. You can see it here in the bottom left. You have your environmental indicators in mold flow design, which will help guide you around your overall environmental impact. Next, we'll take a look at Inventor. Inventor is a traditional workhorse, but many core features as well as additional new capabilities can help designers and manufacturers address key issues of material and energy efficiency, waste less, and reduce costs and time. So within Inventor, there's two major areas. There's the product design and the production side. So if you look at your model-based definition, it can help with your scrap. If you look at your tolerance advisor, it can help with your quality, mass trend for durability. If you're looking at your CNC or your G codes, you can look at your energy and chips. And then with nesting materials, let's say for sheet metal cutting, you'll reduce your waste. Let's now take a look at energy, solutions for energy productivity. The first one, we'll look at increasing energy efficiency with CFD. So what problem does this solve? The cost of design changes grows the further you get into the production development or production. There's a cost associated with physical prototyping, and then heat, especially as electronics continue to get smaller and more powerful. So PCB boards with more components will generate more heat. Let's look at some of the workflow details next. So there's three major areas. So on the electronics cooling, you can think of cooling fan optimization, natural ventilation analysis, improved enclosure design, airflow visualization, PCB configuration and sizing. In the thermal management space, you can think about natural ventilation, heat dissipation, environmental loading. And then on the flow optimization, there's both external and internal. So with external, you can look at your aerodynamics and your drag. And then internally, you can improve your pipe sizing, look at pressure drops reductions, and then also design simplification and improved efficiency. Let's take a look at a case study. This is with Opto 22. And pictured here is an example of CFD applied to optimize electronic cooling. So Opto 22 managed to eliminate all the moving parts in this device, which were two fans, and use the chassis to eliminate the heat instead. So this design change was validated using CFD. It effectively slashed the device's energy consumption. So it reduced the size by 50% and also it reduced the labor cost by 70% because it was a simpler product design and much easier to manufacture. From here, let's do another pause to catch up on any Q&A.
Yeah, there is a question here, Chas. Maybe it's a general question, conversation here. So, what could be the best practices to reduce the rework and redesign for sustainability? So, just maybe some thoughts here, and maybe some.
Yeah. So a space that we're really partnering up now is really in the remanufacturing space. There's a couple different groups and meetups that happen throughout the world. I'm most familiar with North America, but one is called Reman, and they look at all different things like looking at how you can improve reliability, look at how you can design for disassembly, how can you add more material to an item that you know is going to be worn. Another thing is that like a lot of people don't even think about is that when you're designing an injection molded part, sometimes when you're doing over molding, for instance, just by mixing two different materials, mixing two different materials makes it so that part is no longer recyclable, because if you mix, some polymers can mix when you're upcycling them, but other ones, if you mix two of them, then you'll downgrade the overall material. So thinking about your designs in ways that, I mean, we've seen a lot of things move over to rivets, right? Instead of having them designed in a way where there's maybe screws or a way to disassemble it. So that the way that I would suggest is just think about what's going to happen to this at the end of life and try to design in a way where maybe it has a snap fit, but the snap fit is designed to break. Well, make it so it can cycle through a couple times, or put screws on it and design it that way as opposed to a rivet. So those are just a couple areas. We have on our website in the sustainability section a whole module or a whole section on designing for the circular economy.
Great, thank you so much, Chas. And I think simulation could also help reduce rework. And talking about simulation, I have Jeff here with a question. They are interested in reducing their packaging waste. And we do physical drop tests now, but have you seen effective ways simulation can help? So maybe if you can touch a little bit on simulation, how it could help with the packages.
Yeah, packaging is absolutely an area that we're seeing a lot of pressure, especially around single-use plastics. So with that again, it's thinking about what's going to happen with that. Are you using a material that has already been recycled? Are you designing it in a way where a lot of times there's like right sizing or right timing the packaging. So for instance, let's look at food. Let's look at food products, for instance. And food products, you might, if you're having take-home food that only is maybe going to stay good for 2 to 3 days, do you really need a plastic package or a foam package that's going to last 1,000 years? So one is choosing. I think the most important thing is choosing the right material to match how long it needs to be packaged. And also in the space where let's say if something is being sold online, does it need to have the same type of packaging that you would need to have in a store? So there's the common things like trying to move away from foams and moving over to upcycled plastic, or moving over to some sort of like recycled paper product, and then also design in a way where this particular product, does it even need a package, or can you make the package something that they'll keep and use for other areas? Jad, do you have any particular ideas on the simulation space? It sounded like you were leading in that direction.
Yeah, so there is another question here, so maybe we take this last question before moving. There is Kevin, he's asking if Inventor can create thermal study of mechanical models. So I'm not familiar with this, but maybe you can.
I can help to address this one. In fact, I just dropped the link in the chat so everyone can see that. So the previous virtual meetup, so similar format to what we have today. In March, our special topic was simulation. So we had product manager from our simulation team covering like everything that we have for simulation, including some of those questions that you guys asked. We specifically went into thermal analysis, and we also discussed the drop test and implicit simulation, so more complex simulation types that would help you to avoid physical tests and try to at least explore what you can do in virtual environment. So I dropped the links in the chat window. You have an overview plus the recording of the previous meetup that goes deep into simulation.
Great, yeah, thank you for that.
Fantastic. I think with that, I think we can move to the next section, Chas, talking about sustainability research partnership. Here we go.
Yeah, great. So if you want to hop over to the next slide, there are with our team, we have many different spaces with whether it's our Autodesk Foundation team that's doing employee engagement projects or pro bono projects, or looking at like impact investing. I mean, I just finished a pro bono project a little while ago that was looking at designing a shredder and an extruder for Uganda, where they would be upcycling plastic water bottles, and then we were looking at and creating building products from that. And so that's kind of more what our foundation side does. And then we have research within the design and manufacturing space, and then also the architecture, engineering, construction. So I'm just going to highlight one of the projects that I'm working on right now. And so this is a 6-month immersive research project that I'm working on in Europe. And so we realize that our customers are on a journey to meet very aggressive impact goals. And as I talk with any of our customers, varying in size, there's many commitments that are just extremely difficult to meet. And so we need to be doing more to help you achieve these ambitious commitments. And so what I'm doing is with selected customers that are leaders in their space for sustainability, we want to help empower you and help you accomplish those. And so what we're doing is doing immersive research projects. And through this, you gain or the value proposition to our customers is gaining additional support in achieving your impact goals and improving your bottom line, because a lot of the material productivity and energy productivity projects are connected back to helping with improving the bottom line. And then it's an opportunity to really influence our future product roadmap to have, if you come across, hey, there's this feature would be really helpful to have or be helpful to have a plugin or some widget to help with this sustainable design. This is where we capture it and start to move it upstream in our product development. And then also we're working with tons of different customers across different industries, and a lot of times we can find some ideas that have worked in other industries. Like for instance, talking with a building products customer earlier today, we were borrowing concepts that we found from consumer electronics, that the public group from Cisco, for instance, their circular economy division. And there's a lot of things that can be adopted across industries. And it also offers an opportunity to really showcase your successes across that. There could be an opportunity for creating marketing material together, presenting on it, and showcasing it. We find that a lot of times companies really want to showcase what's being done in the sustainability space, tying back to brand reputation. Want to go to the next slide? So we're really trying to answer 3 major research goals on this particular research project. So looking at how we can help support our customers and creating more sustainable products, and really having measurable impact to the business and environment. We're finding a lot of times the topics get so complex that there's a disconnect between how do you actually measure this impact to the business and environment. And then the next part is really answering how are these practices improving your bottom line. And then the last one is how can we test our ideas about closing the technology gap. And what we mean by that is how can we have different workflows that we think work really well or that we've seen work really well, but you might have already discovered much better workflows. But a lot of times we find that they're just complicated. It might be Excel sheets connected to Fusion, connected to an ERP system. It gets very complicated, and so we want to help discover that and work through that together. So we're partnering up. Can you up on the next slide? We're partnering up with different design agencies. Next slide, please. Yeah, perfect. And so we're partnering up with different design agencies to host these human-centered design innovation type workshops. And so one of them is a company called Creatives. They're based in Munich, and they are originally from San Francisco, but they put together all these different human-centered design workshops. They work with major manufacturers like Siemens. They also work with insurance agencies like Alliance. And so they host these cross-functional workshops that are either 1 to 2 day workshops that we really look at how can we bring together these different departments to meet these goals and objectives. And the first day we really look at, okay, what is currently happening, the good stuff and also the problematic areas. And then the second day is really partnering together to look at how can we figure out how to get there with all the expertise in the room. There's also a university that we've been working with that's in Sweden, and as far as countries that are really far advanced in sustainability, we find that the Scandinavian countries are leaders. So it's great to be able to partner up with a university where people are studying this for their thesis. And then next slide. So right now I'm still finalizing who are the exact people that we're going to be working with. We have a long list, but this is a great opportunity for you to get involved and bring sustainability into your company. Either meet pressing sustainability goals and commitments, or if this is a passion project of yours, we can connect. And so looking specifically within Europe around industrial manufacturing and automotive, and focusing in on the factory efficiency and manufacturing processes. And then we really want to make sure that the companies that we work with are truly committed to planet, profit, and people. We'll really be able to help out with the planet and profit. And we definitely want to make sure that there's already some documented results, and that you're also mature on your sustainability journey, as in you're really an innovator in this space. And then also, to be able to do this, to be able to partner up effectively, we both have to be open and honest about what is working and what's not working. If you look online at many different companies, you can see all the wonderful things that are happening, but there's a lot of difficult processes on the back end and a lot of difficult problems that still aren't being solved. And that's the area that we really want to come together. And you don't have to be using our tools for sustainability. This is not about pushing particular tools. This is really about coming together to look at how can we meet these pressing sustainability challenges of the future. So we'll be doing a 90-minute virtual session we'll be doing a 90-minute virtual session next month, and then we're going to be doing 1 to 2 day immersions, ideations, looking at your current processes and your future aspirations. And so if you feel like your company fits into this space, reach out to us and let's discuss it further. Jay, can you go to yeah, perfect. So going back to the 3 key trends around material productivity and circularity, energy efficiency and manufacturing, and responsible supply chain management, there are some key sustainability issues that really align with each of these. So we only talked today about material productivity, circularity, and then a little bit about energy efficiency. We didn't get into advanced manufacturing or responsible supply chain management, but each of those you have available to you different workflows that help support that, and then specific products that will help support those as well. And we're really here to learn from you and support you along this sustainability journey, because they're very complex issues that we're all trying to solve together. And with that, the way Autodesk was just named the 5th most sustainable company in the world by Corporate Knights. And the way that we got there is by working with our customers, because we realize our customers are the ones that are actually making the massive impact, and we're here to just help enable you through that process. Joe, let's go to the next slide, and then we'll close it there for some questions. So you have available to you many different resources. The first place I'd recommend checking is if you just type in Autodesk Sustainability, it'll bring you to our sustainability overview, our sustainability section of our website. And there's tons of content there, whether it's around our sustainability report. You can see some ideas of what is being done in Autodesk. And it's only, I think, about 10 pages. So it's a pretty quick snapshot. And then you also have some content there for circular design. And then you also have different sections to see what our Autodesk Foundation is doing. And really, it's all about helping to spark some ideas of what else you could be doing. And you also have us here, and your account teams can pull us in. And yeah, we're in this journey together. We realize that everyone is spread out all over the world, but everyone on this call is working towards a common goal, and we're here to help you with that. So with that is all of the content that I have for this, at least this presentation. But let's turn it over for some more questions, as well as Anton, if there's anything that you want to do to close the session out.
Yeah, this is great, and I will take the control back, so it will be easier for Chad to facilitate the Q&A. So let me take it back, and Chad, feel free to pick the questions that we haven't answered yet, and I will take the control back.
Yeah, thank you, Anton. Thank you, Chad. That was great. I'm trying to scan the questions we have here. So we have some questions like Shireen. We will take this offline. There's a question about more about sales from Shireen. We will take this offline.
Yeah, we encourage you. We encourage you to just reach out to us. A lot of this stuff we want to make. I mean, during this call, we want to make sure it's relevant to everyone. But we're more than happy to engage with you to help out with your different sustainability goals and commitments. We have team members around the world on our sustainability team, and there's tons of resources available to you.
Yeah, and some of the resources that we mentioned earlier today, I wanted to show them. Like, first of all, this or kind of higher quality recording of the content that Chas walked you through today is available as e-learning, like proper e-learning course. It's free to anyone who has Autodesk ID, basically to all Autodesk customers and partners, right? And it covers, you know, more or less the same content, but in much more chapterized format. So I will drop the link in the chat window in a second. This is, you see the e-learning course. And also we also mentioned about simulation and CAM, manufacturing, transition from 2D to 3D. So a lot of other ways to be sustainable. It's not necessarily like 100% focused on sustainable design, but those are useful resources available on the same website where this sustainable design curriculum. So I will also drop the link. And also, if you are interested in continuing the journey or joining the mechanical engineering virtual meetups, please register to the next one. The next virtual meetup is about connection between manufacturing and BIM, and we'll talk about different kinds of connections that are available. And it's our May's topic. So overall, this is information that is available to all of you, and it's in the chat window right now. All the links, our references are right there right now. So with that, this is all from my side. I wanted to see if there are any other questions, Chad.
Nothing really here, so maybe last call for any question or any topic you want to discuss or anything from Chad's presentation you want to maybe more clarification, or so feel free to reach out or to send maybe your last questions here on the chat. So we are here to answer them.
Yeah, and I'll chime in here as well. I was just thinking about the first poll where I believe it was about 50% of people are just curious about sustainability. So there's tons of content online for learning about how to embed sustainability. There's a couple key companies that we work with a lot. One of them is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. They have a ton of great content around circular economy. We partner with them frequently. There's also Verge or Green that's in North America, and actually the very first Verge meetup, which is their biggest meetup, that was hosted at Autodesk. And so there's a lot of information out there available to you. And then we find a lot of times that the sustainability goals and commitments might come from the very top of the organization, and there'll be very lofty goals. And then a lot of us mechanical engineers are the ones that might be on the hook to be able to help meet those. And a lot of times they can be quite difficult and problematic, but know that there's a whole team at Autodesk that finds those really fun and impactful, and we're here to be able to help guide you through that journey. And so it's a resource. Use it. We're here to help. Anton, what other gems are you pulling up here?
There was a question about COVID-19 response, and we have an official answer. I also dropped the link, and also something else that might be useful for most of us, right? Because 90% of us working from home, including ourselves. So I'm just dropping the other related resources, not necessarily to sustainability, but just since we had a couple of questions about the remote collaboration, I'm also dropping some resources.
Great.
Okay, and I'm going back to the slides. Okay, and it looks like we don't have any other questions. So with that, I wanted to ask Chas, you and Chad, if you have any closing notes or call to action to the audience.
I do. I think one thing to really part ways with, is to know that sustainability is such a complex topic across industries, across different organizations. And what's really important to know is that even if you feel like you're in one small area, the impact stacks. So, I mean, a lot of times if you're designing, let's say you're designing one component that's in a sub-assembly, just making it more robust or lightweighting it. If we all start moving that direction, it stacks up and has a massive impact. And this is also a space that we're seeing grow every single year. I mean, There's like one side that's the carrot, which is a better brand, a better increased bottom lines, and really just doing good in the world. But there's also the other side that's coming up on all of us, which is regulations and compliance. So there's definitely different types of motivators, but sustainability can be tied into so many different. It can come from motivations in different areas, and it can also be supported in many different ways. So just want to leave it at that.
Yeah, I will echo what Chas just said, and I will add to this, like, sustainability now is a skill that we need all to really to have, and we need to keep learning. It's a complicated subject for sure, but we need to keep learning. There are lots of content, lots of workshops available to you. The website we have for you, Autodesk website, is a really good resource. I will highly recommend you to go there, check the sustainability report we have for Autodesk, some success stories from customers in the D&M, like Claudio's Peters, Airbus story, General Motors story. These are stories really interesting to read, and feel free to reach out. If you have any question regarding sustainability for D&M or in general, we are here to support you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Stay safe and healthy. Back to you, Anton.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Chas and Judd, for presenting. We're closing the webinar. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll hope to see you next month at the next virtual meetup for mechanical engineers. Thank you, and bye.
Thanks, Anton. Bye, Chas.